And then it got copied by the Chinese, and then it got copied by the Americans, and it got copied by everybody. And it didn't work as well as the ones that were coming out of Australia. And the reason is the Australians knew that the voltage of the cells, in order for them to release their toxins, had to be above 14 volts, okay, DC. And everything that was coming out of China and the US was running off a 12-volt system. And so only maybe 20% of the cell toxins were able to be released. But the Australian ones were on a 24-volt system. And so the cell was able to completely discharge because it had the right amount of voltage to allow the cell to do that. By the time it got through your system and through the body and all that stuff, the voltage was down to about 18 volts DC, but still enough. We used to use the Australian ones at our clinics in the United States, and they were amazing. In fact, we even took and made a jacuzzi tub, because we had a big cancer clinic that we operated in Mexico, and we wanted our people to be the whole body and not just the feet. And then we hired two universities to come and do a study to validate that the body was actually detoxing. And we paid a lot of money for those two studies. And they both came out and said, we can't tell that anything's coming out other than oil and sweat and some mineral. And we think that's coming from the salt you put in the water. So it was pretty depressing as far as the science side was. But the real world side of it was our people were getting healthier. They were getting better. They had less joint pain. They had less illnesses related to overtoxicity in the body. So we knew something was working. The universities couldn't tell us what it was. They didn't say that it didn't work. They just said that it wasn't doing what we claimed it was doing. Well, we used those for years, and we got introduced to this technology, which is radio frequency technology. That's what the RF stands for. In fact, it doesn't even say that, but it's the AORF foot detox, radio frequency. And that is a German technology. We learned about that about 3 years ago. And what that is you put the soles of your feet on some stainless steel plates. We put a radio frequency into those plates of 1,000 megahertz, and we pulse that at 10 hertz, which is 10 times a second. It's being pulsed, but what's being pulsed is the 1,000 megahertz, not the 10 hertz. And what that does is it actually causes heat. And you'll feel the sensation of heat. Now, if you put your fingers on the plate, it's not any hotter than room temperature because it's a radio frequency, not a heat. And that's coming up. And generally, the first time you do that, the first 3 or 4 times you do it, you'll feel an ache in your ankles. Yes or no? Yes. And you'll feel heat. But it's not, like I said, if you touch it, there's no heat. What's happening is this eddy current, the little atoms bouncing all over inside your feet aren't able to get through your ankle because there's nerve blockages. And once those eddy currents get through, then the pain goes away out of your ankles. There's no discomfort in your ankles, and it'll work up your legs, and you'll start to maybe feel it in your knees. Again, clusters of nerves that are all bundled up and blocking that current to be able to go up. And then after it passes through the knees, it'll get to your hips and then eventually up to your shoulders. I have not got past my hips yet. It takes different time for different people, how well hydrated you are, etc. The reason we like this form of detox is it's working from the inside out. It actually creates something in the body called hyperthermia. We're heating the body, we're raising the body's core temperature 1.5 degrees, which is putting the body basically into a mild fever. Okay? Now, the minute you take your feet off that goes away. It's almost instantaneous how fast that goes because the radio frequency is no longer going through your feet. And so we're finding that it's a better detox. It's definitely easier in a clinical setting to use. I might have to dump out water and mess with all the other things, but it's more comfortable for people. Things that we've seen with that are people with neuropathy see an almost immediate benefit from that one. People with arthritis or other joint issues see a reduction in the pain and discomfort very quickly, and it's a longer lasting effect. Now, here's the thing, I think it was touched on a little earlier today. If you continue to eat the bad stuff, do the wrong things, think the wrong thoughts, that's probably the most important one. Those problems are gonna just come right back. Yes?
This is a pulse radio frequency.
Pulse radio frequency, yeah. And so it's important that you understand that I can help, or I shouldn't say I, the device can help those issues. But if you don't make the lifestyle changes, they're gonna come right back. This is going to, or can, facilitate that to where your life is enhanced, your quality of life is enhanced. By the way, I'm a firm believer that when we die, we're gonna wonder why we tried so hard to stay here. And I think we're gonna get there and realize that's so much better. But while we're here and we're still dumb to that, we want our life to be quality, not so much quantity, okay? And so the more that we can do to help our body do that, this is a help, but you've got to do your side to help that get there.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the ARC? Yes?
So when we were at your health centre,